Number 9. Britney Dawn Davis. Self-proclaimed fitness coach and nutrition expert Britney Dawn Davis built a successful business selling personalized diet, workout, and nutrition plans on social media. For prices ranging from $92 to $300, the 30-year-old from Texas promised to provide customers with a personalized fitness and diet plan that would include weekly one-on-one check-ins and adjustments to the regimen as needed. Davis made a lot of money by promising these services, which were first advertised for sale in 2014. But many customers noticed that their plans seemed generic, and in many cases were ineffective for helping them achieve their weight loss and fitness goals. Others weren't getting the feedback and check-ins that were promised along with their plan, or were receiving generic comments like, "You've got this, babe," and "That's my girl," and it wasn't exactly the expert advice that they'd hoped for. One bride-to-be, Angie Bullock, paid for Britney's services in hopes of losing some weight before her big day. She told the Washington Post that when she realized that she'd received a one-size-fits-all plan, she tried to reach Davis to no avail and was eventually blocked from the influencer's social media. Bullock and other customers who felt duped eventually received refunds after they began to raise the alarm and shared their opinions online about what they believed was a scam. Customers began calling Davis out publicly after comparing their plans and realizing that they weren't personalized. In response to the mounting complaints, she went on Good Morning America and explained that she jumped into an industry with no instruction manual. Later, she apologized to her followers in a video post, but has allegedly failed to fully refund unsatisfied customers. In early 2022, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit against Davis for allegedly deceiving and misleading thousands of customers. He also accused her of selling weight loss plans for anorexia survivors, which she denied doing. Davis still retains influencer status but has switched her focus from fitness to Christianity. She now hosts religious conferences and retreats. Number 8. Callum Von MRE. Australian actor and bodybuilder Callum Von MRE is one of the most widely recognized members of the fitness industry. The three-time Mr. Universe winner has modeled for Gucci, portrayed Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 2018 movie Bigger, starred in the documentaries Generation Iron 2 and Callum Von MRE Unbroken, and also has amassed an Instagram following of more than 3.3 million fans. But Von MRE's successes have been punctuated by a number of personal and professional struggles and failures. In recent years, he's developed a reputation for his increasingly erratic behavior. The first signs of his life being on a downward spiral began with unexplained social media absences and strange posts. In early 2022, Von MRE rear-ended another vehicle in Melbourne and got into a verbal altercation with the victim. He allegedly stabbed the victim's tire and fled the scene. A few months later, he was accused of crashing his motorcycle into a car and driving away. In another incident, cops caught him with meth and other contraband as well as testosterone. He reportedly told officers that he had pumped so much testosterone into his body over the years that he no longer produces it naturally and has to inject it just to stay at a normal level. Shortly after that, Von MRE fell out of a second-story window and was seriously injured. After undergoing spinal surgery, he checked into rehab for his addiction and mental health issues. He resolved his criminal cases without any serious convictions, which will enable him to continue traveling between Australia and the US for work as he continues working to get his life on track. Number 7. Melissa Kate Bumstead. In 2021, US Customs agents intercepted a suspicious package that was en route from Canada to Palm City, Florida. Hidden among the contents of what appeared to be a typical care package were several vials of steroids and medications. The feds attached a hidden tracking device and added a special powder to the inside of the package, which would get on the hands of whoever opened it and serve as evidence that they intentionally and knowingly accepted its delivery. An agent, dressed as a postal worker, carried out a controlled delivery to the recipient, 30-year-old fitness influencer and bodybuilder Melissa Kate Bumstead. She was taken into custody on 6 felony counts of possession of controlled substance without a prescription, and she bonded out for $30,000. Records describe the athlete as an alleged importer of steroids shipped out of Quebec. Bumstead has participated in numerous professional bodybuilding competitions and is married to bodybuilder Ian Valliere. Her brother Christopher Bumstead is also a competitive bodybuilder. The beefed-up brunette bombshell has nearly 150,000 followers on Instagram. where she goes by the name Melissa Valliere. She reportedly makes a living selling coaching packages at prices ranging from $350 to $4,000. It's unclear what became of Bumstead's criminal case, but she remains active and popular on social media, indicating that she dealt with the situation and has moved on with her life. Number 6. Dimitri Stak. Like most people, Ukrainian fitness influencer Dimitri Stak had some strong opinions about the coronavirus pandemic. The 33-year-old father of 3 didn't think the virus was real until about 7 months into the global pandemic, when he began feeling sick during a trip to Turkey. Upon returning to Ukraine, Stak was hospitalized for treatment. During his stay, he posted a selfie in an oxygen mask with a lengthy caption denouncing his virus-denying ways. Stak cautioned his 1.1 million followers that the coronavirus is in fact real, and he provided a detailed description of his day-by-day symptoms and his experience at the hospital. It was the last post he would ever make. He spent several days there before being sent home, but his condition rapidly deteriorated and he was rushed back to the emergency room unconscious and in a grave state. Shortly after that, the influencer's ex-wife Sophia announced in a heartbreaking Instagram post that Stak had passed away from heart complications caused by the virus. Hopefully, his final words on social media inspired some virus doubters to take the pandemic more seriously. Number 5. Mark Malloy. Australian fitness fanatic Mark Malloy gained a considerable Instagram following of more than 70,000 fans, but she also allegedly made a living in the illicit drug trade. In 2018, law enforcement raided her home in Brisbane. Malloy and her former partner Jason Atkins were charged with trafficking and possession of MDMA, trafficking cocaine, and possession of items used in the commission of a crime. Their arrests were linked with 2 other arrests that were made months earlier as part of an investigation into an alleged drug ring. During Atkins' trial, the court heard how he led an immensely profitable trafficking organization across Brisbane starting in 2016. But the money dissipated after police seized a large supply of pills from one of his properties. Atkins was afraid he would fail to meet his own drug debts, so he enlisted Malloy to help him recover money from people who owed him. He pleaded guilty to drug trafficking and received a 7-year sentence with eligibility for parole after 2 years, with the judge factoring in his mental health into the punishment. Malloy pleaded guilty to supplying and trafficking dangerous drugs and was given a 3-year suspended sentence as a result. Number 4. Logan Barnhart. During the U.S. Capitol riot on January 6th of 2021, a man was captured on camera dragging a police officer down a flight of stairs before another rioter beat the cop with a flagpole. He was high on the list of wanted suspects, but remained unidentified until 7 months after the attack, when a group of online sleuths called Sedition Hunters used facial recognition technology to track down a promising lead. During their search, the group obtained footage of the suspect without his sunglasses on, which led to a major break in the case. They searched the image on a facial recognition site, which yielded photos of a 40-year-old bodybuilder from Michigan named Logan Barnhart. He appeared on bodybuilding websites, photography portfolios, and on the covers of steamy romance novels, including one titled Stepbrother Unsealed, a bad boy military romance. The man in the photos certainly resembled the suspect, but it was Barnhart's Instagram content that pointed most strongly to this possible involvement in the riot. In addition to posting right-wing memes and shirtless thirst trap images, his profile included photos of him wearing a hat and a sweatshirt that matched the description of the suspect's attire. The Sedition Hunters passed their findings on to law enforcement, and the FBI arrested Barnhart. He pleaded guilty to assaulting an officer in exchange for prosecutors agreeing to drop several other charges against him. He's now scheduled to be sentenced in early 2023. Barnhart faces up to 20 years in prison and possible fines if convicted. Number 3. Hussein Yakub Balapur. 33-year-old bodybuilder, fitness model, and influencer Hussein Yakub Balapur moved to Australia as an Iranian refugee. He built a nice life for himself, which included a social media following of more than 350,000 people and high-paying photo shoots. The heavily tattooed 6'5" gym buff was already out on bail for an assault charge in early 2023, when he allegedly got into a street brawl with personal trainer Marvin Yakub. It's unclear what sparked the fight between the two men, who were once close friends. According to rumors, they were entangled in a long-running dispute over money and cars. Footage of the violent encounter showed Balapur knocking Yakub to the ground and punching him repeatedly. Yakub stood up and ran away, and Balapur chased after him as pursuit continued into oncoming traffic. At one point, Balapur could be seen striking Yakub with an object. Bystanders eventually broke up the fight while the two men continued trying to get their hands on each other. The video circulated rapidly on social media and landed in the hands of police, who obtained a search warrant for Balapur's gym. Officers found him exercising on his treadmill during the surprise visit and carted him off in the back of a police van. He was charged with an affray, which is defined to be when someone intentionally or recklessly uses or threatens unlawful violence, as well as violating bail and one weapon-related count. Number 2, David Byers. Fitness model David Byers became a familiar face on social media for his regular appearances on photographer Michael Stokes' Instagram page. But posing for the camera apparently didn't pay the kind of money he wanted, and in 2017 the beefed-up bodybuilder embarked on a cross-country spree of armed robberies. The first incident happened at a gas station in Long Island, New York, where he made off with $300 in cash. He entered a Chase bank the next day wearing a bandana over his face and carrying what appeared to be a gun and demanded money. From there, Byers went on to Connecticut, where he committed several more robberies. Police attempted to apprehend him, but he led them on a high-speed chase before ditching the stolen vehicle he was driving and fleeing on foot. He managed to evade custody long enough to slap some plates onto another stolen car and begin his journey back to the West Coast. Byers ditched his stolen vehicle again during a police chase in Pennsylvania. He then stole a pickup truck and drove to Maryland, where he swiped some plates for it, and he managed to get all the way to Arizona before attracting the attention of law enforcement again. For a second time, he fled on foot and remained at large until he made it to San Diego, where he was taken into custody. The so-called Beefcake Bandit pleaded guilty to a string of robberies and was sentenced to nearly 7.5 years in prison. As an additional consequence, he was also ordered to pay back the $15,000 he stole during his crime spree.
And now for number 1. But if you want to hear even more stories, stay tuned for some extra content that you might have missed.
And at number 1, Jessica Fernandez. In early 2023, 19-year-old Twitch streamer and fitness influencer Jessica Fernandez posted a TikTok video captioned, "This is how to not approach girls at the gym." In the footage, she takes a break from lifting weights to discreetly accuse the man working out behind her of being a creep and a weirdo who treated her like a piece of meat. She even called him a stupid effing piece of you-know-what, and included several disparaging captions including, "Natural selection better take these weirdos out." The man can be seen occasionally glancing over at Fernandez before offering to help her attach a weight to a barbell she was using. She politely declined, and he resumed his workout. Fernandez likely wanted the video to go viral, and it did, but not for the reasons she would have hoped for. A number of people called her out for rushing to judgment and assuming that the man was trying to get into her pants when he could have been just politely offering to help without any ulterior motives. People also questioned whether the guy was actually staring at her the way she claimed, or just harmlessly glancing over, something humans do all the time without any ill intentions whatsoever. Fellow fitness influencer Joey Swole called on Fernandez to do better and acknowledged that women do get harassed at gyms, but that an act of kindness or a glance does not make you a victim. After receiving an overwhelmingly negative response to the video, Fernandez deleted the post. In a tweet, she apologized to the man she accused of harassing her and admitted that she blew the situation out of proportion. She said that being called out helped her realize her mistake and how her actions could have caused a lot of unfair harm to the fellow gym goer.
8. Gabby Castillo. In early 2022, 26-year-old influencer Gabby Castillo was arrested in Mexico City for being a suspected member of the elusive Union Tepito gang. At the time, Castillo had over 763,000 Instagram followers. But by looking at her online content, you wouldn't have guessed she'd be involved in illegal activities. According According to the Spanish news outlet El Universal, Castillo was arrested on fraud and drug offense charges. The incident occurred when the reality star was in the process of starting a singing career under the stage name Briella Sanz. She was apprehended while traveling through Mexico City in her luxurious pickup truck while possessing around 1 million Mexican pesos, $52,961 US. 35-year-old Jose Yaref Soto Jimenez, whose family is suspected of stealing and reselling expensive used cars, accompanied the influencer. And what's even worse is that the authorities discovered hundreds of bags of drugs, as well as a firearm inside the vehicle. On top of other offenses that were brought against her, Castillo was investigated for allegedly taking compromising photographs of her clients that could have been used to blackmail them for money. She also has romantic ties to Oscar Andres Flores Ramirez, or El Lunares as he's sometimes called, who's currently serving a 20-year sentence for murder, selling drugs, and organized crime. El Lunares is supposedly the head of the Union Tepito gang, which is the main reason Castillo has been linked to the illegal group. The investigation into this case is ongoing, and no recent updates have been released. So it's unclear if Castillo really is a member of the gang, or just involved with the group's dangerous leader. 7. Kayla Massa. New Jersey-based social media influencer Kayla Massa was accused of fraud after she allegedly scammed her followers on Instagram out of more than $1 million in 2018. Massa has over 330,000 followers on the platform, and she supposedly duped more than 45 people into sharing their bank account information with her. The whole scam was exposed in a detailed report from Quartz. Allegedly, Massa lured people into her legal scheme via her Instagram stories, where the woman would upload aspirational photos of cash, along with messages such as, "If you got a bank account and you're interested in making legal money, hit me up ASAP." And not surprisingly, the majority of people who fell for the scam were under the age of 18. According to official documents, Massa was accused of encouraging those individuals to completely empty their bank accounts before giving up their debit information and PIN in order to falsely allay any fear of losing money. Then she'd have her victims deposit large, fraudulent checks into the accounts, all under the names of legitimate businesses, before hastily withdrawing the cash. She allegedly moved so fast that neither the individuals nor the banks had time to flag the transactions as suspicious. After draining her victims' accounts, she would cut off all contact with them, even going as far as to block them on social media. And many of them were forced to pay the money back to the companies that were targeted during the scam, or had their cards canceled altogether. Some of the businesses that were used for the fraudulent checks also experienced losses. The investigation was launched back in July 2018, after the U.S. Postal Service found out that 53 blank money orders had been taken from the post office in Berlin, New Jersey. An update from February 2020 claims that Massa was charged along with 9 other people who were believed to have been involved in the scam. Massa, as well as the other defendants, were charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud. The estimated loss as a result of the scheme was estimated to exceed $1.5 million. Unfortunately, the outcome of this case is unclear, as it seems that Massa and her co-conspirators have yet to be sentenced for their crimes. 6. King Sid. YouTuber King Sid was arrested in early 2022 at a gas station in southern Florida after misusing 911 in order to pull a prank on the police. Sid, whose legal name is Jason Sid, posted footage of the incident to his YouTube channel after the fact. In the video, the influencer can be seen telling a friend to call the local police to report weird, suspicious activities that were taking place at the gas station. They claimed that a car in the parking lot was loaded with cocaine. However, the vehicle they'd reported to the dispatcher was really occupied by Sid and his buddies, and the truck was filled with Coca-Cola, not the illegal drug. The video that Sid recorded was titled "Coke Prank on Aggressive Cops." And since it was posted, it's been viewed more than 800,000 times on the platform. The Coral Springs police chief, Clyde Perry, posted a video to Twitter in which he said that he was offended by the absolute waste of resources the prank caused. He also explained that the whole scheme was hatched as a way to show how overly aggressive some police officers are when responding to these types of calls. But the YouTuber's plan backfired in the end because the officers couldn't have acted more professionally during their investigation of the fictitious situation. And after the vehicle's trunk was searched and nothing illegal was discovered, Sid and his accomplices were free to leave. According to Chief Perry, a total of 7 emergency calls were delayed due to the prank. He also said that this type of behavior often leads to deadly consequences and shouldn't be considered funny. But Perry seemed to have the last laugh as he captioned a video of King Sid getting arrested. The joke's on him. The 21-year-old was subsequently charged with misuse of 911, which is a third-degree felony. The 2 other people involved in the foolish prank weren't identified, so it's unclear if they were also apprehended. Sid has yet to be sentenced for the crime since the case is ongoing. 5. Courtney Clenny. OnlyFans model Courtney Clenny was arrested in Hawaii on August 10, 2022, after being accused of murdering her boyfriend, Christian Obumseli, on April 3rd at the home they shared together in Florida. Clenny, who used the stage name Courtney Taylor for her X-rated content, apparently admitted to stabbing Obumseli. However, she told investigators that she was only acting in self-defense. Initially, the police agreed with the 26-year-old, but after further investigation, the authorities charged her with second-degree murder at the end of 2022. Frank Prieto, Clenny's lawyer, seemed all too confident when he came out with a statement that said he was looking forward to clearing his client's name, even claiming to be completely shocked to hear of the woman's arrest. This incident occurred after footage emerged during the summer of 2021 that showed Clenny attacking Obumseli in an elevator inside their apartment building. The surveillance camera footage was eerily recorded just a month before the man was killed. Clenny told the police that she threw the knife at her boyfriend from 10 feet, 3 meters away. But according to the Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's Office, Obumseli sustained a knife wound that was 3 inches, 7.6 centimeters deep, which they claimed could only be caused by forceful pressure. The OnlyFans model, who made over $1.8 million in 2021, has pleaded not guilty to the charges brought against her. At the moment, she's being held in a Miami jail as she awaits her trial. 4. Ray Hushpuppi. 40-year-old Ramon Abbas, who's better known to his millions of followers on Instagram as Ray Hushpuppi, was sentenced to 11 years behind bars over charges related to a multi-million-dollar scam he created that targeted companies in the US and overseas. He was arrested for his crimes in June 2020 at his apartment in Dubai. The Nigerian social media influencer flaunted an extravagant lifestyle of luxury cars and private jets to his fans, all while claiming to be a real estate developer. But in reality, Abbas was making his money illegally through online hacking schemes that reportedly earned him over $24 million. The cybercriminals' targets included a foreign bank, an American law firm, and an unnamed professional soccer club in Britain, according to a federal sentencing memorandum from the Central District of California's U.S. Attorney's Office. After getting caught, Abbas confessed to a conspiracy to defraud a Qatari businessman out of over $1 million. He also detailed how he and his co-conspirators fraudulently acquired $923,000 from the law firm in New York he tricked into giving up their bank information. One of the man's accomplices, who hasn't been named, pleaded guilty to 1 count of money laundering in November 2020. He's now also serving 11 years in a federal prison and is required to pay over $30 million in restitution. The previous June, investigators in the United Arab Emirates searched Abbas's apartment at the Palazzo Versace resort in Dubai. Afterward, he was arrested and was subsequently handed over to FBI agents. At the scene, the authorities reportedly seized 13 luxury cars, almost $41 million, and computer and phone evidence related to the crime, like the email addresses of Abbas's possible victims. On top of his 11-year sentence, Abbas was ordered to pay $1.7 million in restitution to 2 of his fraud victims. 3. James Charles. Beauty influencer James Charles admitted in 2021 to sending several sexually explicit messages to not 1, but 2 underage boys. The then 21-year-old initially denied the allegations against him. However, he ended up posting a video to YouTube in which he explained that he fully understood his actions and how they were wrong. James, who currently has nearly 24 million subscribers on the platform, was accused of grooming by one of the teenagers he was caught messaging. But James said he only flirted with them because he believed they were 18. Even so, many of his followers would not allow his behavior to go unnoticed, stating that he should have done more research before sending inappropriate messages. After receiving an insane amount of backlash for his behavior and losing hundreds of subscribers on YouTube amidst the scandal, James posted a 14-minute video titled, "Holding Myself Accountable." In the video, he confessed to acting reckless in the past, but said he only behaved that way because he was desperate, which many of his followers took as him trying to justify his actions. His excuses, though, didn't do much to persuade his audience, since he had a similar scandal happen back in 2019 when he made a promise to be more careful moving forward. Obviously, he was unable to stick to his word. Oddly enough, there were never any real charges brought against James. 2. Taylor Frankie Paul. Harriman, Utah influencer Taylor Frankie Paul was arrested in early 2023 after getting accused of assault. Paul has done well for herself on TikTok, amassing over 4 million followers on the app. But when a 911 call was placed on February 17th at about 11 p.m., accusing the woman of domestic violence, she was quickly apprehended by the Harriman police. One of Paul's neighbors reported the incident after hearing yelling and screaming coming from inside the influencer's home, according to a probable cause statement. When the authorities arrived at the woman's residence, officers spoke with both Paul and the victim at the doorway. They were then questioned about the reported commotion, which is when the victim explained what had happened. This seemed to anger Paul, who then lashed out at the victim, hitting and punching him right in front of the police, who ended up separating the two of them. Eventually, though, Paul was determined to be the primary aggressor of the argument. It was reported that the 28-year-old woman struck the victim several times during the argument. She also allegedly threw multiple household objects at him, including her 5-year-old daughter's wooden playset and metal chairs. Unfortunately, Paul's child had been on the couch in the living room during the altercation, and video evidence that was received after the influencer's arrest seems to suggest that the woman's daughter may have been injured during her mother's outburst. As a result, Taylor Frankie Paul was charged with criminal mischief, domestic violence in the presence of a child, and assault. The case is also currently being screened by the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office to see if additional charges of reckless child abuse are necessary. The investigation is ongoing at the moment, but hopefully in the near future, more details will be revealed. 1. Danielle Miller. Danielle Miller, an influencer from Florida, was arrested in 2021 on wire fraud charges after flaunting her lavish lifestyle on social media. 32-year-old Miller was accused of using a Massachusetts resident's information in order to open a fake bank account. Then, after doing so, she applied for a COVID-19 relief loan using the fraudulent credentials she'd come to possess. As a result, she received a loan of over $100,000 as part of a federal program that was meant to aid small businesses during the global pandemic. However, according to investigators, the money she acquired was used to purchase expensive plane tickets and stays at luxurious hotels in California. At the time, Miller had a rather large following on Instagram, and prosecutors were able to use the photographs she posted against her. For example, the influencer's fraudulent bank account was charged at least $5,000 by the Petite Hermitage Hotel, and just a few days later, she posted a picture that geotagged the establishment. In March 2023, Miller pled guilty to fraudulently obtaining more than $1 million in loans related to the pandemic by using the stolen identities of over 10 individuals. Then, using that money for personal expenses, such as chartering a private jet and renting a luxury apartment. Her sentencing hearing is currently scheduled for June 27, 2023.
Would you rather overhear your personal trainer telling someone that they think your fitness goals are hopeless but are happy to keep taking your money? Or be the unsuspecting target of an influencer's mockery in a covertly filmed video about ugly fashion choices? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.